From the Mapleview Animal Hospital studios, this is the WHTC Morning News with Gary Stevens and Peg McNichol on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
Welcome back to WHTC's Morning News for this Tuesday, December the 15th. I'm Gary Stevens. Tuesday mornings, we chat with St. Joseph Congressman Fred Upton via the Zoom connection, which has been the choice of communications for the most part since this outbreak started in earnest in March and April. Fred joins us this morning. Good morning, Fred.
Well, good morning. I'm glad it is Tuesday because Monday I was driving back in. We got a busy week ahead of us here, that's for sure.
Yes, we do, and we have a lot to talk about with you today. First of all, can we put the election to bed, or is it still going to be a contentious thing until Congress makes the final seal on January 6th?
Well, let's face it, it's over. There have been no real reports of fraud or errors. All 50 states have certified their elections. As we've talked to my county clerks, they're all good. They all did a good job. There's no miscount. 154,000 votes between Biden and Trump. So the Electoral College voted yesterday, every state capital. The votes are there. They're on the way to D.C. They'll be officially counted January 6th on the House floor, a tradition that goes back forever. And I can't believe that it's going to be overturned, particularly, 6 weeks now after the election. So we need to move forward with the transition. That's something our country is known for. Hey, I didn't like the result, but that's, that's what happens in a democracy. And we move on. We put the country first.
Can the country move on?
Well, I sure hope so. And, we do have divided government. We know that. And it's going to be pretty close. I mean, the Senate still could go either way based on the election and special elections in Georgia. They have a little different system than we do. Michigan didn't sue Georgia, but in Georgia, you have to have 50% of the vote or more. Otherwise, you have a runoff. Some states do that. And so they have both Senate seats up for election. They will determine who's in the majority. In the House, 218 is the magic number, 435 members of Congress. So 218 wins. It looks like it's going to be maybe 222 to 213 or 223 to, it's going to be literally a handful of votes. 5 votes are going to determine who's the majority. So the only way you can get things done, and man, we need to get things done, is you have to work together in a bipartisan way, regardless of whether the Democrats take the Senate or not. It's still, remember, they have the 60 vote threshold. And that's one of the reasons why the problem solvers, we really have a pretty big baseball bat right now. As you know, and we've been talking about this really since summer, it's been our group, and we had a number of conference calls yesterday as I was driving back to DC. I have hands-free, on my phone. But we had lengthy calls in terms of where we are, a big press conference yesterday, but we're really within inches, I think, of getting the deal that most Americans want. More assistance for our small businesses. I hope the liability relief, not only for our small businesses, but schools and hospitals, more money for testing, more money for the unemployment, more money for broadband. We have $10 billion here for broadband. Our healthcare providers to make sure that they have the right assistance, and educators as well. So it is really broad-based. It's skinny down from where we were before. It meets all the tests that different leaders have laid down the gauntlet for us to do. I think the administration would support it. Actually, the president has said, go bigger. We'll see how it all wraps up the end of the week.
Speaking, and I do want to tie up a couple of loose ends, if you want to call it that, with the aftermath of what has gone on over the last 6-7 weeks. Paul Mitchell, who is stepping down from the Congress, is stepping down from the Republican Party. He wants an I next to his name for the last couple of weeks of this particular session because he is disappointed with some of the Michigan delegation that supported the efforts to try to overturn the election, including in these parts, Bill Heisinger. Your thoughts on those that basically support the president in his efforts to try to overturn this?
Well, our delegation is pretty close. We meet on the House floor when we have votes. We talk. We have everybody's cell numbers. We communicate when we're not in session. Frankly, I was surprised yesterday when I heard his announcement on the radio as I was driving back. I think I was in Pennsylvania at that point. But my thought is, you know what? You're better in the tent than outside. I enjoyed his perspective as a Republican. We all have disagreements with each other, but we've not really seen each other since September. His physician urged him not to come back in person, so he's been voting by proxy the last couple weeks. So, but it's just better to be. We ought to be a big tent party. We've got people with disagreements. We're not a parliamentary system. No, you don't vote rubber stamp on every issue. That's for sure. He's a smart man. He's a self-made businessman. He's made lots of money over the years. He had a distinguished career. He's been pretty much, as he said yesterday, 96% support of the president on a number of initiatives. He was in the leadership, elected by his class. He lost an election before he won an election for Congress. So I know him. I know his staff. I'm disappointed that he's no longer with an R next to his name the last couple of weeks that we're in session. And but obviously, he was retiring from Congress. He made a pretty strong stand. I still like him.
What about Heisinger's situation? Because he's catching some flack from locals here, basically probably disappointed that Brian Berghoff didn't beat him in the election. They're saying he should resign. He should resign. Well, they had the effort to try to vote him out, and they didn't have enough power to get him out of office.
The voters speak, and that's really what this whole thing was about with this lawsuit. The voters decide who's going to represent them. It's not the politicians. It's not changing the rules. It's not the judges. As long as the race is fair, it's the voters that decide. And the voters decided that Bill has done a great job. Obviously, I was very pleased that he won. I helped support him to the degree that I could, for sure. He's a valuable member of our delegation, a valuable member of the Congress, serves on a very powerful committee of financial services, where he's a subcommittee ranking member, the top Republican. He did well. You're always going to have, look, we did we had great news this weekend with Pfizer. And just, I'm so proud of the people that are there that worked hard. I know a lot of them, they worked 24/7. I mean, all the different things they had to do with the supply chain. Even putting out something good about that, you still get the punches in the mouth from folks on social media and others. How can you sleep at night? All this stuff I can't say on the radio. You can take on the Asian carp. You can do the Lord's work, and they still think that you're the devil.
Yeah, that's unfortunately the nature of the beast. 2020, soon to be 2021. Speaking about the Big Ten, where does Peter Meyer fit in the Big Ten? Have you had a chance to chat with Peter at all yet, or is it going to be wait until January?
No, Peter's been a good man. He's been a friend for a long time. I supported him in his primary. I did a number of different events for him. He was out with the orientation with all the new freshmen. We got 50 Republicans that are coming out, so I've met a lot of them, not all of them yet. He'll be a valuable member of our delegation for sure. He's reached out. He's listening. We had a delegation meeting with him last week, I guess it was, when they were all in town, both he and Lisa McLean, who's taking Paul Mitchell's spot. But he'll hit the ground running. And as I said after his election, he is going to carry on what has been a pretty good tradition in that district. The Jerry Ford, the Paul Henry, the Vern Ehlers. He's going to be a reasonable, thoughtful listener, wanting to really help his 750,000 constituents in a good way. So we've had a lot of conversations since the election, and he's going to hit the ground running. I think he'll be on a good committee as well. We won't decide that until the end of January, which is why it's so important we get a COVID package now, because it just takes so long for the wheels to start. The committee assignments, all of those different things, the new administration, the inaugural, all of that just things don't start on a dime. And but he's ready to go, and he'll be a valuable member of the delegation, that's for sure, on both sides. And I'm pretty sure that, guess what? He'll likely be a member of the Problem Solvers caucus.
You beaten me to the question. You beat me to the point about whether or not you're going to recruit him to join the Problem Solvers. Looks like he might.
I told him that he was going to have to freshen up on his song. Usually you got to sing your alma mater, your fight song or something. So he went to West Point, so I don't know that song. We'll see what he comes up with. But yeah, got a good sense of humor too.
And of course, he should be happy after what happened Saturday up at West Point with the football game. But that's neither here nor there. And you've touched upon pretty much a lot of the points that we wanted to touch upon with you today, Fred. We're going to do one more chat next Tuesday. If all goes well, then we'll take a couple of weeks off for the holidays. So wish you well in D.C. Fred Upton, thank you very much for your time, and look forward to chatting with you again next week.
I really do. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Fred Upton, on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.